Chapter 3. Whew! At last, a normal childhood. During my junior and senior year at the Big House, which is a movie nickname for all U.S. prisons, we called Northeast Catholic High School the Big House. I went on a secret religious binge. I could see those who acted reverently were treated reverently by others. It turned me on. I thought it was a sign that God was secretly calling just me. I started attending Mass every morning, even during the rain and freezing cold of winter without any explanation to anyone. I went before school. I went in the afternoons. I would catch the 23 and the 56 trolleys to Northeast Catholic High School every single weekday. And before long, the rumor began. Tommy wanted to be a priest. Wanting to be a priest was great cover for fitting in this new preppy Mount Airy culture. Unfortunately, it cut down a bit on dating. But that was also great cover. I was very shy around young ladies anyway. I loved older women, and I could stand and talk to them for hours and hours if they would listen. Mrs. Maloney, my favorite, who owned the local grocery store on Germantown Avenue by the trolley stop, could very easily attest to this, as she listened to my stories every single day after school for a long, long time. I never knew if she was interested or not, and really didn't care. I told her everything I ever knew about myself and what happened that day to everyone else, and she was always interested and always laughing. She only asked me to be quiet when the customers came in. It was an absolutely great personal relationship. So, I arrived and had everything I needed to settle into a normal childhood in Mount Airy. I was back in an Irish Catholic clan. I attended the Big House with 5,000 plus screaming, wiggly, noisy, other ornery high school boys, and I wanted to be a priest. Now that was status. And not just any priest, but an oblate of St. Francis de Sales priest, the toughest of them all, and they taught at North. I remember enjoying my summers at the lake, where we lived with Grandma. It was our name for the Riley's summer cottage at Deer Lake, the site where the Dewey Riley family summer playground, where Aunt Seal and Uncle Ed welcomed hordes of both Irish clans during the summers. And because we were actually related by marriage to both the Dewey, my brother and I, Jimmy, to both the Dewey and the Riley clans, we, the daughters of Ann, were especially welcomed by everyone. During summer vacations at the lake, my cousin Bobby, the second oldest brother of the Riley group, taught us how to say Mass on rainy days. We were his older boys. He played the priest. Later in life, he entered the seminary and became a member of the Maryknoll Missionary Order. I was always very proud of Bobby, and he had a terrific influence on my attitude about my whole life. I loved all the Rileys, and as if they were my own brothers and sisters, and even more so as I got older. And I understood the real value of their entire family's impact on my personal life. I always truly felt I was always truly welcome in the Riley home. Anyway, Bobby heard the rumor through his mother, Aunt Seal, that I wanted to become a priest. And I was treated by his mom to a visit to him at his seminary in New Jersey. It was a beautiful, peaceful, very prayerful, and very intellectual, strolling around among the pine trees with the soft pine needles underneath blanketing the quiet walkways around the religious campus. He had on a long black cassock with no collar. I was awed at the prospect of priesthood, and the place actually reeked of God. He gave me a present, a daily prayer book published especially for priests. It was to be read all day, every day for the rest of my life. I felt like I received a papal appointment directly from God to save the world. I could not wait to use it at 6 a.m. Mass the next day. I got home to the Gunthers and began to enthusiastically open it in front of my Uncle Connie. I gently and reverently unwrapped the paper cover and started thumbing through it to find the English section. Suddenly, it became frightfully obvious. It was totally in Latin. I hated Latin. I went to summer school for an entire summer for Latin. No way was I going to study Latin again. I quit the priesthood plan that very second with the absolute reality of learning Latin hit me. Uncle Connie just smiled. He always knew me. When I held it out to him and explained it's all Latin, he knew that was the deal breaker. And he always knew me, he always knew how to treat me. God, I love that man. I graduated the Big House, one of, if not the youngest, in the class of 928 other screaming kids. I was 17 years old, it was 1953, and thanks to Aunt Bert, Uncle Connie, Father Quayle, I got through. I was a skinny, pimply, totally nondescript, middle of the class, unknown orphan among all the other graduates when we went into Convention Hall in downtown Philadelphia for the ceremony. I had two close friends from first grade at Holy Cross all the way through to my senior year in high school. One was Marty, one was Wayne, and we traveled together on our universe of the number 23 car and the 56 cars back and forth every day for 3 years to North Catholic in high school. Marty and I worked together after school and in the evenings at an exclusive country club. Wayne and I just liked each other's company. Jimmy hung around with Willie, that's Wayne's naughty little brother. His claim to fame was he ran completely naked around an entire city block while a line of hundreds were waiting for their tickets at the Sedgwick movie on a Saturday night in the middle of winter. Somebody dared him to prove he had balls. Jimmy and I laughed, oh, I can't tell you how long, but Jimmy loved Willie. I loved Wayne. He was my true pal. Actually, we all loved being just tough guys together, and we felt the brotherhood of warriorship bubbling up inside all of us. During the late summer after graduation, and only because it was already scheduled, I took and promptly failed the test to get into the seminary. Actually, I failed miserably. Hell, I could not even remember the Our Father. And shortly thereafter, I began to notice girls. I decided to start wearing white bucks, button-down shirts, and khakis, and focused on wanting to go to college. Uncle Connie always kept subtle pressure on me to make choices about my future. It never mattered to him what I chose as long as I made a choice. It took a citywide competitive exam for all the people who played baseball for the Pop Warner Summer Baseball League. We got thousands of us took the exam, and wouldn't you know, I aced it. I came in the top 5, and because of it, I was considered for scholarships at all the colleges, and I got my entrance exam free. Along with the help of Grandma and my Uncle Tommy Crane, a Villanova baseball scout, I was admitted to Villanova University in the fall as a future baseball scholarship and candidate for their brand spanking new swimming team. I attended classes for the first 2 months, and I knew it wasn't for me. Over the Thanksgiving holiday, I secretly went down to 14th and Haynes in Germantown and joined the United States Marine Corps. And I agreed to leave 5 days after I was 18 years old on January 28th, 1954. And of course, like all secrets, I couldn't keep it, and as the word leaked out, and Uncle Bill and Uncle John, who were not very high in the Marine Corps anymore, tried their absolute best to talk me out of it during the Christmas holidays. I was leaving for boot camp at Parris Island, South Carolina. They finally gave in to the idea that I actually would go, and as a result, they gave in and Grandma launched her attack. She called every politician she could think of. No way was she going to be another gold star in the Dewey clan. Marty and Wayne knew of my secret patriotic plan. I shared everything with them. They secretly did the same thing and never shared it with me. Marty's family had a going away party for me at his house over the Christmas holiday and invited all our classmates that we had all our lives and all our girlfriends from all around the neighborhood, most of whom went to Little Flower High School. Little Flower was the sister school of North Catholic, but it was strictly for girls as North was strictly for boys. In the middle of the party, Marty's mother, Mrs. Dewey, demanded quiet for an announcement. Marty stepped up with Wayne, and I thought they were going to say something nice to me. They both turned to the crowd and announced they were also leaving on the same train the same day with the United States Marine Corps Independence Company from Philadelphia. I was in total shock. Tony McMahon wrote a song especially for the party. Not a soul down on the corner, that's a pretty certain sign. That old draft board is breaking up that old gang of mine. There goes Marty, there goes Wayne, strolling down Paris Isle. Now and then they'll meet Tom again and they won't even smile. Tony was always a show-off. He was truly a pain in the ass in first grade, where he used to stick me with a pencil through his seat. January 28, 1954. 3 Mount Airy Warriors joined 360 raw-ass recruits at 30th and Market Street Station, Philadelphia, amid a wash of tears and lots of cheers from all the families present. Talk about adrenaline. It was the single biggest thrill of my entire life. Even to this very day, to these words coming out of my mouth, nothing has ever equaled or surpassed it since. I felt alive and important for the first time in my life. And then finally I belonged to a real family, the United States Marines, where I learned to speak hoorah. And now I'd like to continue with chapter 4, We Make Marines. So we'll take a little break here while I stop bawling.